It's Friday, September 19th. In the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness reaffirms the vision for a transformed Jamaica in a new parliamentary term. And opposition leader Mark Golding vows to hold the government accountable. In business news, Jamaican tourist attraction Dolphin Cove could go up for sale. Regionally, University of Trinidad and Tobago and the Canadian Embassy join forces on cyber security. In sports, Brian Lavelle scores bronze in the men's 200-meter final at the World Athletics Championships. This is the weekend news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. A swearing-in ceremony for newly appointed state ministers is scheduled to take place on Friday, September 19 at 1 p.m. at King's House, the official residence of the Governor-General. State ministers who serve as junior ministers within various government ministries play a key role in supporting cabinet ministers by overseeing specific portfolios or responsibilities. While their titles and duties may vary depending on governmental structure, in this context, they function as part of the national administration. The ceremony will be officiated by the Governor-General, His Excellency Sir Patrick Allen, and is expected to include the formal taking of the oath of office and allegiance. Senior government officials, dignitaries, and members of the diplomatic corps are expected to be in attendance. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has reaffirmed his commitment to transforming Jamaica into a nation marked by sustained economic growth, low crime rates, affordable housing, and modern first-world infrastructure. Speaking during the opening session of the new parliament on Thursday, shortly after members of the House of Representatives were sworn in, Dr. Holness made it clear that his vision for national progress takes precedence over concerns about his own legacy.
This third term is not about legacy, it is about destiny. It is not about what I leave behind, but what Jamaica must achieve. And what Jamaica must achieve is nothing less than greatness. Jamaica must end absolute poverty in the land. And we can do it.
A key pillar of that vision, the Prime Minister notes, is the sharp decline in violent crime. He pointed to a more than 40% reduction in murders and crime levels not seen in 3 decades as early signs that the country is on the right path.
To signal the priority of violence reduction, the Ministry of National Security is now the Ministry of National Security and Peace. This reflects our conviction that the task before us is not simply to enforce law and order, but to build the conditions for lasting peace.
People's National Party leader Mark Golding is putting the government on notice, saying the promises made ahead of the last general election won't be forgotten. Here's more from Thursday's ceremonial opening of Parliament. Danita Rodney reports.
Opposition leader Mark Golding has signaled a strong stance, promising that the People's National Party will keep a close eye on the government. He was speaking on Thursday at the swearing-in of parliamentarians at Gordon House.
For all the promises that they made to the people of Jamaica in the course of the last election in seeking a third term of office, and in achieving higher levels of performance than they've been able to achieve thus far. And we intend to also put forward our own proposals as to how we would do that, so that Jamaica could be a place in which the aspirations of our people can be met right here on this rock, and not by way of having to migrate or seek solace elsewhere.
The opposition leader pointed to Jamaica's economic progress, specifically the reduction in national debt from 145% of GDP in 2012 to a projected 60% this year. He credited the foundation of that turnaround to his party.
Both sides can claim some degree of satisfaction in the achievement of that monumental milestone. Really, the heavy lifting began in 2012-13 with the new IMF agreement that was signed, a very challenging agreement which led to success in bringing the debt to GDP ratio down to 115% by 2016, and it has continued thereafter to now, where with a revision in the accounting protocol for GDP, the expectation is that we will achieve 60% this year.
Mr. Golden wants increased investments in Jamaican people.
What we have not seen is commensurate improvements in the standard of living and quality of life of our people. And all the sacrifices that have been borne by the people of Jamaica in running the high primary surpluses that have been necessary to achieve the debt reduction that we have managed to achieve must now translate into tangible benefits that the people of Jamaica can feel that they have derived from the sacrifices made.
On the issue of constitutional reform, Mr. Golden welcomed the government's stated commitment to work with the opposition, but made it clear that more needs to be done to move Jamaica away from its colonial past.
For that to happen, there needs to be consensus around certain critical things that we regard as fundamental to this exercise. And we don't feel that any effort has really been made to achieve such consensus thus far. And I look forward to seeing whether or not that will in fact take place going forward.
And while he acknowledged Prime Minister Dr. Holness's call for unity during his recent inauguration speech, Mr. Golden stressed that unity must be built on transparency, good governance, and a real commitment to progress.
Tax Administration Jamaica is reminding the public that several tax offices will remain open on Saturdays, making it easier for Jamaicans to access services outside of regular hours. Select locations operate from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., while the Portmore Tax Office opens earlier at 9 a.m. For this Saturday, September 20, offices in Lucy, Falmouth, Constant Spring, Maypen, Mandeville, and Savannah Lamar will be open to the public. Saturday services include motor vehicle transactions, driver's license renewals, property tax payments, TRN applications, and other tax payments. Compliance and audit services are not offered on weekends. Since April, over 29,000 people have used the service, generating more than $567 million for the government. Taxpayers are also encouraged to use online payment options through the TAJ website, direct funds transfer, or online banking. For more information, visit jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-829-4357. We are still in the hurricane season, and as Jamaicans stay alert for any instance of natural disaster, some residents are reflecting on their past experiences with these powerful storms. Brittany Walker was in downtown Kingston asking, what's the worst hurricane you've ever experienced?
Hi, I'm Brittany and welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. Today we're in downtown, the heart of Kingston, and we're asking the public what's the worst hurricane they've experienced.
Oh, Gilbert, of course. It's Gilbert. It's one of the worst hurricane. I think it did a great damage to the country, or a lot of stuff. A lot of things do happen during Gilbert, trust me. Never experienced anything like that.
I would have said Gilbert, you know what I mean? Because Gilbert was very strong, and at that time I was about 7-year-old and it nearly blew me away, you know? And it still leave impact up to the day where place have not fixed from Gilbert, you know? So I would have said out of all of the hurricane, Gilbert would have been the worst one.
Worst hurricane I have ever experienced was Gilbert.
Why is that?
Well, Gilbert, I was so excited about Gilbert. Why? Because I never experienced a storm before, right? Now, when it actually reached, the excitement cut. Why? Because it was so frightening. House top blew away, car blew away, tree broke down, and everything where me never have in mind so that take place.
I'm born in the 80s, so I more say Gilbert, you know. One of the roughest time I ever buck up on, you know, in a real life.
Tell me your experience.
I say zinc and fly all angle, you know. You hear that? All 3 in a year, I don't know. But it connect, you know.
Gilbert, eat beer mackerel, bully beef. I'm sorry. I rest on the tree, popped down over park.
Well, the worst hurricane that I've experienced was Gilbert. When I was a child, 12 years old, just going into high school, and I went for devastation, and I couldn't even go because of September it come, and it was a lot of setback.
Ivan.
Why is that?
Yeah. Sad man. Roof lift off, zinc move, breadfruit tree drop down, people are ball, them lose enough things. You have to lock up in a church and them something with the trouble.
Tell the God truth. I always hear about hurricane, my parents them always tell me about it, but the worst one when me ever experienced a Gilbert. When Gilbert are coming out, yeah, me in my house and I look through the sky. Yeah man, I look to my window and I look at the sky get black. And I can darkly hear the light of the hurricane attack. I not make out what I say, but attack, the breeze itself, attack.
Gilbert was an expensive one because it damaged the whole Jamaica. And it leave us in flood and whatever. I don't even know what way dimension it, but when I look, I see roof jumping off a house top. Every house top, almost. My one, it was a shock, a living, but it stand up so strong.
My experience with Hurricane Gilbert was, it was so traumatizing because we just have a young baby, 2-month-old, and I wash the baby clothes and I feel the breeze and everything comes, so I get up. You see, by the time I look the bath and everything, the baby clothes just wash where the water just come in. Then I hear one lady scream and I look, I see the big everlasting tree. And it fall along and the lady house. So we have to take away ourselves. Everybody have to go away.
We just say Gilbert. Although you have hurricane and Gilbert in the bush, it show in Gilbert days, the place never developed certain way, you know. But me, you say the Gilbert. I remember in hours at night, we'd have to come out of our house because the rooftop lift up. And we never have no food, we have to go over to school because they would give a beef.
I would say Ivan. Well, with the breeze and the rain, I'm not like, it can have me a little traumatized as a youth growing up. You understand? And the experience when we come out and the debris and roof a place mash up and fence blow down and tree drop down and all of that.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Mexican-based World of Dolphins, Inc. majority shareholder in Dolphin Cove Limited, is exploring a sale of its controlling stake in the Jamaican company. World of Dolphin Inc. owns 79.99% of shares in Dolphin Cove Limited, a marine attractions company operating 4 locations on the island's north coast: Ocho Rios, Moon Palace, Jamaica Grand, and Lucy. In February, Dolphin Cove revealed that Mexican company Dolphin Discovery, a parent of World of Dolphins, had begun insolvency and restructuring proceedings in Mexico's courts. However, Dolphin Cove pointed out then that it hadn't offered any guarantees or undertakings or pledged or encumbered any assets in relation to the obligation of any group, enterprise, or other party whatsoever. I quote, "Dolphin Cove's limited operations continue unaffected, and the company will maintain its independent operational status. The board will continue to monitor the situation and make further disclosures as required." End quote. The disclosure was placed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. World of Dolphins purchased its controlling stake in Dolphin Cove in 2015. President of the private sector organization of Jamaica, PBCJ, Metri Siaga, has urged stakeholders in Jamaica's financial sector to rethink the rigid requirements imposed on entrepreneurs seeking access to financing. The Planning Institute of Jamaica reports that MSMEs contribute over 40% to Jamaica's gross domestic product. Siaga continued to note, "We account for over 34% of the total employed labor force, and we employ 90% of the private sector and over 80 billion in tax revenue to the government of Jamaica," he stated. Mr. Siaga was speaking at the PBCJ and Inter-American Development Bank Empower JA Forum held under the theme, "The New Finance Frontier, Empowering SMEs with Tailored Capital Solutions," at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on September 11. The PBCJ president said despite their significance, MSMEs continue to face a financing gap that is estimated to be hundreds of billions of Jamaican dollars. For the trading period ending September 16, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited shares of 22,291,459 units traded, representing 38.51% of market sales volume. Medical supplies distribution firm Indies Pharma Jamaica Limited ordinary shares with 8,119,589 units traded, representing 14.03% of market sales volume. Investment house Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 7,913,363 units traded, representing 13.67% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On September 18, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $68.86 million purchased and US $74.48 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned 97 cents per dollar, selling the US at $160.49 and buying the US at $159.52. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders 64 cents per transaction, with selling at $116.30 and buying at $115.66. The British pound yielded Forex traders 49 cents in profits, with selling at $217.95 and buying at $217.46. For our credit report tip of the day, don't wait for a loan application to force you into managing credit. Build it every day with the 5 C's of credit. Character, act on trust, pay every vendor on time, follow through on promises, resolve issues fast. Capacity, control the numbers, review cash flow weekly, update financials monthly, cut costs that don't produce revenue. Capital, invest in yourself, reinvest profits, keep business money separate, grow your emergency fund. Collateral, strengthen your leverage, maintain and insure assets, keep valuations current and document ownership. Conditions, stay ready. Track market changes, adjust pricing quickly, diversify income to reduce risk. Take these actions daily and you'll be loan ready before you even apply. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, cybercrime is on the rise, and experts are warning that no one is safe from online scams. The University of Trinidad and Tobago, in collaboration with the Canadian Embassy, has launched new efforts to strengthen cybersecurity awareness and training. Tyrianne Brown-Campbell tells us more.
Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, Professor Prakash Prasad, said the University of Trinidad and Tobago's collaboration with the Canadian Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago was timely, as everyone needs to be aware of the cybersecurity risks.
The particular bank I'm with, but a very, very sophisticated scam was taking place. They will send you a WhatsApp stating that you need to log in again. And these people are so, they have set up the same bank's accounts all over the place. So once you log in, they get your login information and they start transferring your money from one account to the next, to the next, to the next. Can't be traced.
UTT is actively addressing the issue of cybersecurity in that 24 students are expected to graduate from the university's master's degree program in cybersecurity.
UTT has a very, very vibrant cybersecurity master's program that is training a lot of the people in Trinidad. And in fact, the professor himself is well known as an expert in the Western Hemisphere. He's called upon to give advice or to represent the region in many sort of fora.
Canadian High Commissioner Michael Callan highlighted his country's interest in strengthening local cybersecurity.
We share family connections, we share business connections, we share cultural connections, and sometimes we share criminal connections. It's only a 5-hour flight from here to Toronto, but everyone knows we are just a click or a swipe away. That means that your security is our security. Canada and Trinidad and Tobago are deeply linked, and we have a shared interest in keeping all of our communities on and offline safe.
Thursday's cybersecurity seminar dealt with understanding the threat landscape, human-centered threats, response and resilience, as well as building a cyber-resilient future. Tyrianne Brown-Campbell, TTT News.
In Barbados, the rapid U.S. military buildup in the southern Caribbean Sea continues to raise concern, especially amid limited communication between Washington and Caribbean governments. CBC News' Crystal Hoyt has that story.
The U.S. State Department did release a statement claiming the operation is aimed at interdicting drug trafficking. This is despite the fact that most of the seaborne drug shipments destined for the U.S. typically transit through the Pacific, not the Atlantic, where the American forces are currently concentrated. The Caribbean, while welcoming the U.S. assistance, is calling for more dialogue. Regional foreign ministers, including from Barbados, jointly wrote to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in an effort to discuss the situation. The latter called for assurances that any military action targeting Venezuela would not be undertaken without prior consultation. To date, there has been no response. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kerry Simmons says that if drug interdiction is indeed the objective, then it would be a welcomed intervention given the growing impact of not only drugs but also illegal firearms on Caribbean countries and the well-documented link between the two. However, he emphasizes that a partnership with the U.S. is preferred rather than its unilateral action. Currently, 7 U.S. warships, along with a nuclear-powered fast attack submarine, are stationed in the region, manned by more than 4,500 sailors and Marines. Minister Simmons says he is not in a position to confirm exactly how far off the coast of Barbados the vessels were, but expresses concern over the escalation in recent weeks. Now, if you recall, 2 weeks ago, the U.S. Navy killed 11 people aboard a vessel they claimed was carrying drugs. President Donald Trump suggested the boat had departed from Venezuela and was linked to the Tren de Aragua gang. And only this week there was a U.S. strike on another boat, reportedly killing 3 people. However, in both instances, there was no standard apprehension procedure, no attempt to capture those on board or verify the drug cargo. When I asked Minister Simmons if that set a dangerous precedent, this was his response.
It absolutely does. The truth of the matter is that while we can accept and appreciate the need for there to be a strong and decisive action taken against drug cartels, no difficulty there. But there is a thing called the rule of law. It exists in the United States of America, in every state of the United States, and it exists in every state of the English-speaking Caribbean. And we cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. Now, unfortunately, in this matter, the U.S. has not condescended to share any intelligence with us, to the best of my knowledge. So what we get is a report on social media to say that a boat was blown out of the water. And I have no idea, independently of who was on the boat, what was on the boat. If it is that this is a course of action to be taken, there should be the pursuance of the normal route of arresting people, bringing those people who are suspects to trial. After trial, if they're found guilty, then convict. But what we cannot do is to arbitrarily execute.
He says his fear is the loss of innocent lives if mistakes occur.
This region sees a lot of fishermen pursuing their livelihood, obviously at sea and oftentimes on international waters. This region has seen the use of international waters for the movement of our cruise ships and part of the tourism experience in the Caribbean. This region sees our own people moving from country to country, crossing the international waters. And so therefore, for those real purposes, it is very important that we avoid mistakes and missteps.
Minister Simmons, who is heading to New York for the UN General Assembly, is hoping to use the opportunity to engage with the U.S. on this matter.
In sports, we're on the track with athletics. Jamaica's Brian Lavelle captured his first global medal in the men's 200 meters final at the World Athletics Championships, clocking a personal best of 19.64 seconds to claim bronze. The event was dominated by Americans, with Noah Lyles taking gold and Kenneth Bednarek earning silver in a thrilling final. Meanwhile, in the women's 200 meters final, Melissa Jefferson Wooden of the United States stormed to victory in 21.68 seconds, the fastest time in the world this year, adding to her 100 meters title. Great Britain's Amy Hunt took silver in 22.14 seconds, edging ahead of Jamaican star Sharika Jackson, who settled for bronze with a time of 22.18 seconds. And that's it for the weekend news. Remember, we are the People's Station.